Hi, today we have a special edition of Fight the FUPA podcast, and I have my coworker here with me and friend Liz, and she is a registered dietitian. And I want to tell you online, we hear all the time from nutrition experts, nutritionists, RDs, LDs, LDNs. Can you tell us what the difference is? Like, what is a registered dietitian?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me also, Lynn. Yes. That's a great question. Basically, a nutritionist is someone who just wants to call themselves a nutritionist. I have experience with food. I eat. I'm a nutritionist.
And they're an expert.
We're all an expert in food because we know what we like, so we know what you should like too. I'm a registered dietitian. In order to become a registered dietitian, one has to have a 4 years bachelor degree in nutrition and dietetics.
Mhm.
And then we have to undergo a very comprehensive 9 month to 2 year internship program where we work in the hospitals, we work in community settings. We actually do have to work in food service for a little while as well, which
and that's like a year long, that
anywhere
internship.
from 9 months to 2 years, depending on the
Exactly.
on the
So
program.
some registered dietitians have 6 years of education versus your
Yeah.
2-day course for the nutritionist.
Yeah.
So again, when you're working with an actual, if it says registered dietitian, they've been to school for many years, they know what they're talking about, they can save lives in the hospital, they can work in the ICUs. This is not your everyday weekend nutrition expert.
You also have to take a fairly challenging exam.
Yes. So when I started in nursing,
Okay,
I would work with RDs like you, and I didn't even realize, the scope of everything that you have to know. I mean, very, very science-based, very, so much knowledge of, it's biology, it's a lot of chemistry. So I remember thinking, oh, they're the ones that come along and just write what you get to eat. But it's literally very interesting that you have so much background and knowledge. So you treat everything in, obviously with me we do diabetes, but she also does obesity and all these other medical nutrition therapy needs, like
gastroparesis, failure to thrive.
it could be weight gain. I mean, many things. So what are the biggest things that you see, especially with the standard American diet? Like, what kind of things are we seeing that we can improve upon? Like, what are the issues that we have here in the United States?
It's really hard. So yeah, I love the fact that you called it the standard American diet. As dietitians kind of call it the sad diet.
Sad.
Which is hard. So the biggest challenge that I see with the families I work with, the clients I work with, is that there's just so many processed foods, and we tend to work really hard. Who only works 40 hours a week? So how much time does that leave us to plan for meals, provide our bodies with nourishment, without having to incorporate these processed foods as well. We do know that sometimes it is a challenge to find the foods that are fresh, wholesome foods as well. So that's the biggest challenge I see, is the availability of your fresh, unprocessed foods, and the availability of those processed foods.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that shouldn't be processed that are, and we we're having a hard time getting things like fresh anymore. So
Exactly.
And when you are working with clients, what are some of the main things that you see as far as like issues with, and how do you individualize their plans? Like, what do you do on an everyday basis?
So for most individuals that I see who are struggling and having challenges, time tends to be the biggest issue. So usually when I'm interviewing a client, in order to start with a plan that might work for them, of course we have the ideals, but we can't work. It would be nice. We're not robots, so we work at where can we meet you where you're at. So individualizing a plan. Tell me about your day. Do you work a regular 8 to 5? Do you work second shift, third shift? What are your cooking facilities like? What are your goals? So individualizing plans, I see where individuals actually are and where we can go. We look at height, weight, their physical limitations, financial limitations, financial resources as well too. What your current activity level is. I think I said that already.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, if it's somebody and they're working nights and they don't have a lot of income and they don't cook themselves, they're going to get a lot of food like at the corner store, and that's where it's all processed, and it's can literally have something sit on the shelf for 6 weeks and it's what they eat every day. So it's causing a lot of issues. So years ago, Dr. Atkins did us a huge disservice and kind of told us carbs were bad. And we see so many patients come in and they're like, well, I was told not to eat carbs. Carbs make us fat. Carbs are like been the enemy for so long. Carboholics. There's people that are addicted to it, and there's people that are afraid of carbs. So, or carbophobic. So, what are you seeing as far as like carbs and like, well, do carbs make us fat?
Oh, that's a great question. No, carbs are our body's preferred source of energy. They're part of our nourishment. So, but we need a balance of carbs, protein, and fat. And so we've been going through diet cycles for ages. I remember mostly just in the 80s there was the no sugar, then the no fat. It's like, no, we need a balanced diet. So, it's just how much and when. So eating frequently enough. Looking at a food as how is this item going to nourish my body? So we don't want to do a no carb diet. We don't want to do a just protein diet. We need a balance. Maybe 3 or 4 ounces of protein at a time, in addition to, depending on what your needs are, maybe anywhere from 30 to 60 grams of carb, plus our vegetables as well. We want to make sure you're eating enough. First eating point maybe within 1 or 2 hours of waking, spacing your eating points 3 to 5 hours. We're not robots, but that
consistency.
Yeah, exactly. And that allows us to make sure that we're nourishing our body. We're not over hungry, so we're not overeating. And we're not under eating, because when we undereat, then we have cravings and we think that that's willpower, and it's not. It's just our brain saying, "Hey, you didn't feed me. I'm going to make you focused on food."
So all of you people that eat nothing all day and you're running around, and then finally at night, all of your calories at night, that can lead to weight gain. So it's not the carbs' fault. It's the
under eating, which leads to the overeating.
Yeah, because you need your calories at some point. So
right, and our bodies can only absorb so much at one time. So if we eat everything at one time, but our bodies can only absorb a certain amount, then we just store the rest. And
so that makes a lot of sense, because obviously, I think I was one of the ones that even remember starting in nursing, and I would go in and every nurse had a great big plate of bacon, eggs, and cheese every morning. I'd go into a report and I'd think, that can't be good. And you would see them lose a lot of weight quickly, but unfortunately, they would gain it all back. But then as they were losing, they would lose hair. I saw them not be able to turn patients anymore. They were grumpy, irritable, it's not a good look. And so how can we actually, what's a good strategy for fat loss to still maintain muscle and not this rebounding dieting thing that everyone does? I mean, the word diet kind of has the word.
Don't diet, nourish your body.
Yeah, so, we don't want to die. We want to.
Right, exactly. I always laugh, and Lynn always hears me say, "Oh my gosh, if I wrote a nutrition book, I would not make any money, because it would be 3 pages long. It would basically say." First eating point within 1 or 2 hours of waking, regardless of what time you're waking up. Space your meals and snacks 3 to 5 hours apart, and balance your carbs and your protein. Drink water, plain H2O. Once you carbonate it, it's not H2O. Carbonation equals inflammation. He hears all my little catchphrases all day. And physical activity as well. So that would
that's the book.
There's my book. Okay. So I'm poor because I didn't make any money.
Well, and you can, fight the FUPA with these same strategies. And I've always talked about eating consistently, balanced diets. But as far as protein for people that, that's the biggest buzz now, is like add more protein. Obviously, we need that because it does many things as far as keeping you feel full. But give us your take on the protein craze, if you will.
Great question. So we've kind of gone overboard with the protein, because many times some people don't eat enough protein. So again, that's the balance, just like too much carb or not enough carb. So when we're looking at protein, and we're calculating protein needs, of course, it's going to be based on what is your activity level, what are your injuries, are you sick, are you in the ICU, are you regular walkie-talkie, what your needs are you training for a competition, so that's all gonna vary. So
does it have anything to do with kidneys anymore? Or?
Yep. So great question. So we usually base our protein needs on what your weight is. However, if your body mass index fits that criteria that we call obesity, we do have to, when we're calculating our protein needs, we do have to either use a formula to adjust, either use your ideal body weight or adjusted body weight, which is another formula. Because if we give you enough protein for your actual weight and you're overweight or obese, that's just going to be too much and going to feed into the obesity.
Yeah.
A few other issues. If our protein, if we're exceeding what our body can comfortably use, then we're going to tax our kidneys. Our kidneys are used to process, and we excrete the extra byproducts there. So if we're taking in too much protein, taxing our kidney. In addition, some people are prone to developing one of the byproducts or holding on to one of the byproducts of the protein called uric acid, and they begin getting achy joints in their fingers, toes, knees, which is called gout. So that can be an issue. What I was also reading, and I didn't share with you this morning, excess protein, if we're having a diet that's just primarily these proteins, we're learning that we're altering our gut function for maybe years. So then that's where we're finding constipation that takes a lot of effort in order to. So yes, we need protein. We need a variety of protein, lean, unprocessed protein, but just not too much and not too little.
And not all from protein shakes, like you said, or all from chicken, like chicken, you know.
Yeah.
When I did some fitness competitions years ago, I mean, I couldn't eat any more chicken or tuna for years after, because we ate a lot of chicken, tuna, and swai fish, and like it's just anything lean protein. But you're saying, like, yeah, we want to have beans, we want to have different types of protein, lots of different sources. Yeah. So great advice. And then what were you telling me about the bioavailability of it? Like in the morning, use some whey protein in my coffee for, a protein iced coffee, but I was putting collagen in it. And you said, yeah, I don't think you're getting that as a protein source, even though it says 1 scoop of it's 10 grams of protein.
Collagen, yeah, correct.
So I'm not probably getting that 10 grams.
So our body does make collagen. We need collagen, but so the World Health Organization has a classification of 4 different proteins, and basically they're talking about how your body can digest it and absorb it and use it. And so when we're looking at the best source of protein, the most bioavailable, that's actually the kind of protein in an egg. The second
eggs are good.
Yes,
that's good for protein availability. Okay, good to know.
The yolks aren't terrible either. They get a bad reputation. You have your B12 and your iron too, so just don't eat it with bacon and sausage.
Making me ecstatic. Sorry.
You're so corny.
Okay, I know.
That's awesome. So makes me laugh every day too. So but yeah, so they have this bioavailability grading system, and then so with collagen that you're taking, not that your body is making,
the one that I was putting in my coffee,
it has a bioavailability score of 0. So
all of you putting collagen, thinking it's an actual protein source, it's great for your maybe it's collagen. I don't know.
to lighten your wallet. So I don't know, but
okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah,
okay.
the whey protein milks the milk proteins, casein and whey. Your body does use it well, as long as you don't have an intolerance or
you're using too much of it.
Too much at once, or if all
like you don't need a 60-gram protein shake. Like that's
no, your body won't use that.
No,
your body
that's excessive.
Yeah, exactly. If your body can only really, depending on your size, most women can only absorb between 20 and 30 grams at a time, men maybe up to 40. Anything more than your body can use at that one time, you can't put it on reserves. You actually store it as fat, and I don't want to store it as fat.
So I've seen many of you online do 50-gram breakfast shakes because we say to add a little more protein for, when you're on a GLP-1. But if we're trying to fight the FUPA, we're not trying to excessively give you calories, even if it's from protein, even if it's got a higher thermodynamic effect where your body might use it a little better for energy than, say, fat. But calories is calories. Too many does not give you a deficit. So great information. So, so things like fish, that's good though. I mean,
yeah, a variety. But if your diet is all fish, then so we can't get all of our nutrients just from one set of foods.
Right. So we want to
exactly if we're
diversify.
So, exactly. We all know if we eat too much, we gain weight. But a lot of us don't realize that if we're not eating enough, or we're eating exactly the same thing every single day, we can't lose weight that way too, because
our body's not adapting or something. It's like it's
right. Yeah.
Just getting used to the same, and it's
so if we're not eating enough, then our body, our metabolism slows down. We store because your body says, "Hey, you starved me yesterday. You're going to starve me tomorrow. Let's hang on here." And if we're eating exactly the same thing, so I'm going to get a little technical, so I don't want you to fall asleep. So the building blocks of protein are amino acids. So with amino acids, we have essential and non-essential.
This is why we have registered dietitians, and I'm going because I just kind of go. Yeah, exactly. Don't do that.
Yeah, so you need a variety and just keep it there. But anyway, our body can't. So for the essential amino acids, our body can't make those. We have to take in a variety of foods so these essential amino acids can work together, so our body can use them. So if I'm only eating whey protein
salmon every day,
or salmon, right, exactly, or my only source of protein is nuts, I'm not getting that variety. And there are probably different components to our foods that we don't even know about yet that work together as well. So we can't take everything just in a supplement or in a shake. I need a variety.
Yeah, I know when I was asking you about, and I ordered on Amazon my my omega-3s and my omega-6s. What did you say to me? I was like, I need more of these because we don't. And you said, no.
Yes, no, get it from food. If you, our omega-3 fatty acids are very important for increasing our happy cholesterol, our HDLs. When we have adequate HDLs, that reduces our risk of stroke, heart disease. But those omega-3 fatty acids also help with our cognition, not in a pill, but from actual food. So we're going to get those omega-3 fatty acids. We have omega-3, 6, and 9s from things like our fatty fish, like our salmon. We're going to get that from our walnuts, our almonds, our avocado. So we're going to get our omega. That's where we're going to get
healthy fats.
Yeah, healthy, happy. I call them the happy fats too. So
for our high density, we want our HDL high and our LDL low. Okay,
right. Lousy LDLs.
Right.
We want them to be low. Yeah.
And so speaking of supplementation and taking things, I mean, obviously, I've been, I'm guilty.
We all are. You're human. Yep.
Yeah, I have people that reach out and they ask about, like, what about for diabetes? Can I take some of the things, like ingredients that things that we have, spices at home, like turmeric or cinnamon and like.
Oh, great question. Yeah.
So what do you think of those type of like more?
I thought you were going to ask about like B12. Everyone asks me about B12 and magnesium when they're on.
Well, I was going to get to that.
I was going to flip that and say, okay, so
more now just the kitchen supplementation.
So as far as the kitchen, so there have been some studies that seem to be repeatable, showing that cinnamon can help to lower fresh cinnamon, so freshly ground cinnamon, can help to improve how our cells use insulin. So opening up those cells so that the insulin works a little bit better and gets the glucose in a little bit more easily. But also what I found, sometimes when we're adding cinnamon to our foods that we also sometimes add sugar to, we might be adding a little less sugar. Well, we're adding more cinnamon for that flavor. Yeah. So that's a way that helps as well.
Okay.
Turmeric, the fresh turmeric as well, or turmeric.
Yep. I don't know what it is.
So the fresh, again, grated. I usually use a little cheese grater. Mm-hmm. May also help inflammation. So So why not?
So why not? Yeah, it's
why
not
not? But
harmful.
in any kind of pills, I'm a little hesitant because here in the U.S. they're not really regulated.
Right.
So what's on the bottle doesn't have to be actually what you're getting. And sometimes they add extra fillers or might not be. So just use the fresh one.
I know years ago, I remember when cinnamon for diabetes was sort of studied, they had pills, but in countries where people had deficits in nutrients and like India or somewhere where there was like more of a lack of vitamins and minerals, they found that some of these worked a little better maybe in a place that, like here we're very well nourished.
Yeah.
We have lots of nutrients. Overnourished. So
also undernourished.
So yeah, so I think people just taking a cinnamon pill and they already have diabetes, that's different because it's not going to really do anything. But it doesn't hurt, like you said. If we put it on a little bit of fresh cinnamon or turmeric or something, it's going to be then that's good. And then I guess since we talked about it already, the supplementation.
Okay, great. So
magnesium. What was the other one?
Sometimes magnesium, B12. Oh, I have low energy. I'm going to start B12. Oh, magnesium. Because the GLP-1, this slowing down my gut motility, my peristalsis, by the way. I start taking magnesium. B12. I always recommend before starting any supplement, have your lab value checked because if you're not low in then you don't need it, and you can actually build a toxicity as well too. So if you're curious about what your vitamin panel is and if you need something, just ask your doctor, hey, can you order me a B12, my vitamin D, hopefully they're already ordering that, a magnesium, to see where you currently are prior to supplementing. And if you do supplement, after 3 months, have it rechecked. If you are supplementing, let's say I'm taking B12 and I want to see how I'm doing with that. And it's 3 months later, I'm going to check it. I generally recommend for folks to stop taking it about a week before. That might be excessive. Usually we say 3 to 5 days, but I just say a week before you're having your B12 level checked, stop taking your supplement because we want to see what your B12 stores are, not just what's currently circulating in your body to see where you are.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So last year when I was trying to lose weight and I was having a hard time, I had some insulin resistance, I had some issues with less estrogen. Exactly what you were saying. I was trying like first 4 months with, okay, let me do vegetarian and let me eat less meat. And I found that didn't do anything because I think I was eating more calories and there wasn't a lot of protein sources that I could eat. So, and then, we were trying, I did add the magnesium, but I realized after a while I was taking the glycinate, which is more the one that helps you sleep and relax, and then there's the magnesium citrate that helps more with regularity. And so you have to be careful with what you are taking because I didn't know there was a difference. So that was kind of eye-opening when one's making you relax all day and then the other one does something completely different. Else relax. So that's interesting. So, what other things are you seeing as far as like, or what strategies, I guess, for people that like me, like last year, that did a lot of emotional eating or stress eating, and that's a sort of issue we hear a lot, even here in our clinic. So,
and so just think of how all of the senses that eating that eating satisfied.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or I was going to say you've been satisfied. Say, okay, I'm stressed. I had a bad day. Think of like way back. I'm going to get psychological with you here. Think about like when you're little, you're an infant, you're crying. Mom picks you up. You smell her, you feel her, you hear her, your voice. You're using those senses.
Milk. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So you taste. Yep. So you get fed. As we hopefully evolve into adults here. I don't know how evolved I am, but so as we evolve, food can elicit a lot of different senses as well. Okay, we're tasting it, we're smelling it, we're seeing the colors, we're hearing the crunch. So that makes a lot of sense that I'm going to soothe myself with food. Okay, so
makes sense. Yeah.
So some strategies.
Chocolate.
Yep, exactly. Too. The chocolate actually hits your dopamine response as well. So some of the
happy endorphins.
Yes, exactly.
It's like you take a bite and you have you have this sense of like this is nirvana.
Your synapses. Exactly. Just,
10 out of 10. Okay, sorry.
I'm just picturing myself eating a nice piece of Godiva dark chocolate right now. Too,
and it just So you're right. And all of a sudden you're relaxed and you're like happy, but then
it's over.
I feel guilty then.
Yeah.
And then I want to feel good again. So I go for another one.
Yep.
And then my brain, I'm like, okay, that was 100 calories. Okay, I just had 200. Oh,
Well,
I
why
had
not just
300.
finish it?
Oh,
Why not just
yep.
finish
I already
it?
messed up today. Okay, I didn't work. I didn't burn any calories. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. I'm just gonna eat the whole box.
Okay. Now I'm gonna put my pajamas on. I was like,
And then
no,
I'm gonna eat it with ice cream.
that sounds good to me. Where's the refrigerator? Where's the freezer?
So yeah, that's historically,
Yeah.
if somebody is going through something, crisis mode, breakup, you want comfort food.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want, like, for me, my comfort food, because I'm from Canada, it was cold. Every time we needed something, it was like grilled cheese and soup. I want
There you
grilled
go.
cheese and soup. There's fat and carb, and it just makes all those happy endorphins. So again,
And addictive properties of cheese, the processed cheese too. So there you go. So you have it together.
it's got everything. Let me tell you, no.
I know what I'm having for lunch: grilled cheese and ice cream with chocolate dip.
There you go. So
No, so the best way that I usually recommend for individuals to try to give themselves a toolbox to fight against that. No, your first tool is try not to be hungry. Make sure that you've eaten your balanced meals and your balanced snacks there. So when you go for that piece of chocolate, you're not going for that comfort and starving.
You're right.
So I'm just eating it. Because I'm also
And
hungry.
don't go shopping for food when you're
When you're
starving.
hungry,
It's the
no.
same thing. You're
Or
going
if
to
you've had a
buy
bad day.
way too much.
Yeah. So, so you just definitely want to make sure that you have those tools and say, okay, I'm going to plan for that. At 3 o'clock is when my snack time is, and today I'm going to have that chocolate, and I'm going to have maybe 3 or 4 pieces of a nice chocolate, not a cheap one, because so I know to savor it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a little protein, maybe some nuts with it, or an ounce of cheese or so with it. So I have that protein with it. I've planned for it, and I'm not going to feel guilty.
And then you're not going to go over.
So
yeah, that's great. That's a great strategy.
And then working on other coping strategies. Yes, I would love to say, oh yes, just go for a walk because you can get those. But yeah, we're in Florida. What if it's 100 degrees out and you're sweaty? Or what if you're in Canada and it's below
freezing?
Yeah,
Exactly.
so developing other yes, you can exercise inside and such, but looking at other tools, other activities that you can practice that evoke several senses. So if I were to walk outside, I'm hearing the birds, I'm smelling hearing the crunch of the leaves below under my feet, smelling the flowers.
So reduce stress in other ways.
Yeah. Using a puzzle. Music. Yeah, music. Good. You're dancing, or put music on while you're doing a puzzle because your brain is working. You're feeling the wooden pieces.
So those are all great strategies. I mean, just in general for, like, fighting those urges and those cravings. Exactly. And those. Our brain has so much to do with eating, and it's very, like you said, not just clinical but psychological. Like
using your senses with other things. Yeah.
No, that's all great. So just to wrap up, do you have any last sort of fight the FUPA for our audience that wants to fight fat loss? Any just key takeaways that people should remember?
Oh, definitely. Don't diet. When you're looking at food or a meal, think to yourself or ask yourself, how is this nourishing my body? Instead of looking at what the scale says. I hate scales. I don't let my clients weigh themselves in my office. Think, how am I nourishing my body? How is this helping me?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I hope you all learned a couple great tips from an actual registered dietitian. When you go online, sometimes even it'll say dietitian approved, but this is nutritionist, licensed dietitian is good, but registered dietitian, they know a lot. So thank you so much for coming and helping us today. So, all right, take care, everyone.